Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Check the audio. Yep, it's working. What are we discussing today? Anything you want, Daz Davies. What do you want to talk about? We can all talk about it together. Hello, Juan, Carlos. How are you? Cheers, Mac. Howdy, partner. Outpost Jared. I like that. Outpost Jared, do you have your own channel? Because that sounds like a cool channel. That sounds like a channel I would watch. Jason Seegers, good afternoon to you. Hello, locator. Coming in loud and clear, screaming inside. Hey there, Zane. How are you? It always blows me away that when I plan these things out, I don't get as many people watching initially as when I just turn on the camera. What's your take on the SW audio show in Dallas in March? Worth flying in for? Last year it was very small. I think it was the first year getting off the ground. I don't know what it's going to be like this year. In a crazy way, I'm probably not even attending simply because it's a long drive over there. It's easier for me to go to Chicago than it is to go to Dallas. And I know that might be counterintuitive, but the thing about it is when I go to Dallas or Tampa or whatever, I'm there to work. When I go over to Dallas, I drive over there, fight traffic, need to be back later. It's just something. So it's up to you. I know that last year they didn't have a ton of people there, but hopefully it'll grow this year. About how much I'm loving my new A10 Classic. How much are you enjoying it? R3 Metas. Very nice. Juan Martinez is from Sweden. Very nice. Coventry, UK. Very nice. Got Arkansas. Sitting here with my newborn. Watch. Oh, Zane. That's sweet. Babies. Kind of miss babies, but I'm too old to have any more. I have grandbabies now. Yep. Borda from Wales. Very nice. Question. What's the price range for a very good DAC beyond which there is diminishing returns? It depends. If you're into like Delta Sigma and like perfect measurements and stuff, you can get that for like $400. So check out like what is the Audio Science Review? I mean, they got a long list of DACs in there. You can also check out Just Shelly Labs. I love their stuff. They have a $44.99 AKM chip DAC. It's really awesome. $500. You can change out the op amps on there if you want to. Put some Sparkos op amps in there. $500-$600. I don't know if it gets much better than that. My hair's all. Should have done my hair for y'all, but I'm lazy and I didn't. If I missed any super chats, no, I have not. Sam is from Plano. Very nice. Manhattan, NYC. I like New York. Northern Ireland. Hey, I was just in Tullamore. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Las Vegas. You know, it's interesting. I don't get a lot of people in here from Las Vegas. So welcome, Fred. I have a passive boombox with two 10-inch subs. Do you think that a PA amplifier like the Behringer EP2000 would power them well? And would you have any amp suggestions? There's an amp from oh man, who is it? I have it somewhere. It's owned by not Infinity. It's owned by like JBL now. Crown, that's what it is. Crown has a PA amp, has a I think low or high pass filter on it. Maybe it's just a high pass filter. Class D puts out a ton of power. I think that would probably power them. I don't know about the Behringer EP2000. I don't know anything about that one. There's also some little Class D amps out there that you could potentially look at. I don't know how they'll do though. Like because like the crown stuff, you're going to get rated power on it. There's also like a clipping meter. There's all sorts of cool stuff on that. I think they're fairly affordable. I thought I had one. Maybe I threw it away. No, I gave it away. Sorry, I didn't throw it away. I think I gave that away. It was okay. It sounded super dry, but for subwoofers, I'm sure it's fine. Sure, it's fine. All right. What else do we have? Oof, they're rolling in. I know you love the WiiM amps and streamers. Do you think? Why do you think they dropped AirPlay? Is it an anti-Apple thing? Highly doubtful. That is anti. I mean, you're if that was true, you'd be alienating like a significant amount of your audience. I'm sure it's just like hardware stuff or whatever route they went. I don't know if there's like a license fee with AirPlay or not. I mean, I would doubt it. I mean, it's in everything. So I don't know. I have no idea why they did that. I don't know. Anybody else know why they did it? Put it in the comments. I have an Audiolab 6000A. Worth getting an outboard DAC like Gishelli? I would assume so. I mean, I've never heard the 6000A. Audiolab at one time was supposed to send me. I had to fill out a form saying that if I didn't return it in a timely manner, I'd have to pay him. Filled it out, sent it back. They never sent me one. But if it's $1,000 integrated amplifier and it's traditionally distributed, that means the retailer is making 500, 400, 600 on it, which means it's having to be built. So you're really getting like a $500 amp, depending upon what their profit margins are. So if it's that, and then you have to consider like what the DAC section cost them. But Gishelli is direct to customer. I know them. I know they operate on pretty slim margins. And so you're getting a $500, $600 DAC, and then whatever, slim margin, they're not selling it through retailers or anything like that. So yeah, I would say yes. Yes. How good is the WiiM as a dedicated streamer into a receiver? I think it's good. I mean, you have to take a look at their DAC section too, and again, the price of the product. I don't generally use the WiiM's DAC because I have a bunch of solid DACs floating around the house. So I generally just hook it into an external DAC and then run that into my amps, whatever it is. But they're fine. I mean, I've listened to a lot of times I'll use two WiiM Pros. Oh, look at that. I'll use two WiiM Pros into two amps, and then I switch it back and forth. And I'm only listening to their internal DACs, and you can still hear a difference and stuff like that. It's better though. Like if you use an external DAC, it's going to be better, sound a lot better. So yeah, Wesley Fletcher, $20. Life is good. Hey, I'm coming to Tampa, Wesley. Short trip though. I'm coming in on Wednesday, leaving out on Friday night. So I'm only going to be there really for one full day. Something's going on Thursday. I think I'm giving some talk on Friday. I don't know exactly what about. Thank you, Wes, for the super chat. You are a gentleman, scholar, Navy veteran, all around nice guy. Any experience with Tecton? Yes, I had the Lores. Pretty good. I liked them. I think they're $1,000 a pair, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more now. A little mid-rangey for me, but I know people love Tecton. One of my patrons has the double impacts, and he loves them. So yeah. Coffee? Yes, if I can, I will, for sure. Is the jump in price worth it for the Cambridge Audio Evo 150 versus the 75? I've never heard the 75. I like the Evo 150 quite a bit. They're also doing an update. So they're going to add 7-band EQ as well as Amazon Music. And I broke that news in London. So I don't know. I've never heard the 75. 150 is good. I like the 150 quite a bit. Actually, I'm thinking about putting the 150 back up in the living room soon. Anyone using LDAC enabled streamer over Bluetooth? Any positive, negative feedback appreciated? I have used LDAC in the past. I think it's marginally better than AAC, but you need an LDAC enabled device to stream it to an LDAC enabled streamer. I would, at this point, streamers are so affordable. I just kind of think it's better for everybody to just get a WiiM Mini or get a WiiM Pro or something like that for $120. And then you have lossless streaming. LDAC, I mean, you're getting more bandwidth, but there's no guarantee that it's going to be any better. Back in the day when I first started the channel, I tested the difference between like AAC and LDAC, and it's tough to do because you can't do it like right after the other, or at least I couldn't with the equipment that I had. It's okay. I don't like Bluetooth though. If like you have a friend over or something like that, and Bluetooth is all you got and they want to play some music or something, it's fine. But for what streamers cost now to get lossless streaming, it's cheaper than what a Bluetooth connector, like a straight up Bluetooth. Like there's a Zen Blue from iFi. I think it's $200. So you can get it like a lossless streaming for less than that. Is there a way to change cartridges on the Fluence RT85N since this turntable does not have adjustable VTA? Sure. Yeah, just get another cartridge that works off of whatever the Audio-Technica standard is. If it's like taller or shorter, then it's not going to work, I guess. I don't know much about turntables. I used to have an RT85 though, and I would switch out the cartridges all the time. All the time. All right. I miss any super chats? Nope. All right. Will I notice a big difference with an external DAC over the AK4458 VNDA that's in my Denon? Okay, so one of the things we have to talk about is that a DAC chip doesn't make the DAC. It's really the analog output that's going to make the DAC. And since it's in a receiver, it's all like interconnected and stuff in there. I would say probably yes, depending upon the DAC. Now, if you get, because again, like all DACs sound different too. Now, even if you have like a Sabre DAC chip, let's say you have a 9038 Q2M versus a AKM 4493. So the DAC chip doesn't make the sound per se. I mean, it's the analog output stage. And each one of those DAC chips has a, not necessarily like, it has a approved analog output stage design. Now, not all DAC designers adhere to that, but a lot of them do. So simply by having the analog output design, then you start to get into things like capacitor choices as far as like what level of capacitor you use and things like that. So in my experience, the biggest difference when it comes to DACs is the analog output stage, the type of components in the analog output stage, the design of it, and then the power supply too. So if you have a noisy power supply, then, you know, signal to noise ratio, you're not going to be able to hear as much of the music. But if you have something with a decent power supply, with a decent analog output stage designed into it, decent op amps and things like that, then you're probably going to hear a difference. You might not though. So it's not an easy way to say yes or no, but all of these questions like are very nuanced. But yeah, I would imagine. I don't know what the X4500H, like what the price on that is. Or if it's like home theater versus 2-channel, but generally speaking, yeah, you'll probably be able to hear a difference. Also depending upon what speakers you have. So yeah. Out of curiosity, I decided to check the resistance in my speaker wires. I was surprised to find they were very different. Is that normal? Am I normal? LOL. Ted, you're probably normal. Maybe not. I've never measured the resistance in my speaker cables, but it doesn't surprise me. So with resistance, you're going to lower the efficiency the higher the resistance. Okay, so I'm trying to think of a cap is a high pass filter. So anyway, I was thinking that you might have like a weird first order crossover on your speakers. Spec Chris, 199 pounds. Thank you. Yamaha RN2000A with Buchart S400 as your first system. I don't know the Yamaha. Let me look that up. RN2000A. Yamaha RN2000A. Oh my. Yeah, it's going to be a great system. 2500. Oh, that's a beautiful receiver. It's got the VU meters. Yeah. S400s. Yeah. I bet that sounds awesome. For first system, consider yourself lucky. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people throw together like $200. That's a heck of a system. Those Yamahas are really cool looking too. Yeah. Full show. It's going to be a good system. Speaking of DACs, how can I hook up my Gishelli to my Node Nano? One moment. This is a Node Nano, I think, right? I'm supposed to send this back, and I never did. And I have it laid out so that I'll send it back. You'll just focus. You just hook this up, optical output into the optical input of a DAC, and then DAC into your receiver. Bob's your uncle. You may have to go into the Blue Sound app and make sure that you select optical output. So yeah. Errol, thank you for the super chat too. Did you give me anyway? Errol Clark, $10. Thank you so much. Any thoughts on the Klipsch RB813? Yes. So the RB series was like the precursor. Actually, I think it's the grandfather to the RP series. So back when the RB81 came out, there's an RB61, I think, and RB. There's a bunch in that line. But the RB81 was the last of the 8-inch woofers coming out of Klipsch. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been an 8-inch woofer outside of maybe a powered speaker since the RB81. I could be wrong. I never got a chance to listen to those. I did get a chance to listen to the RB61, whatever it was. And they're good. They sound like a Klipsch. So I would imagine that it's awesome. And at one time you could find those new. They were like new old stock and they weren't very expensive. The only reason why I never bought them and brought them in is because at the time I didn't have enough money to bring those in. I could either get the 61s or the 81s, and I chose the 61s simply because they were cheaper. But it's kind of like the end of an era, those. So that's kind of cool, like to have the last speaker in that kind of larger woofer time period, back when larger woofers were a little bit more common. Here we go. RP160M versus RP600. Okay, so yes. So the RB was the grandfather. The the 160M was the father to the RP600M. So yeah. Which one? Oh, whichever one's cheaper, probably. I think the RP600M has a different port design on the back. So there may be some value to that. But if the RP600M first generation, a lot of times you can find those fairly cheap, at like around $300 to $350. 160s, I don't know what those cost. I don't know if I ever had the RP 160M in, but it's the 600M. The RP is 600 is just an iteration from the 160. Which I actually like the RP 600M first generation better than the RP 600M second generation. So, for what that's worth. I need to pair a speaker with my automatic coffee maker. Any suggestions? I kind of got real big for my britches when it comes to coffee makers. I have an espresso machine now. So instead of like drip coffee, I have an espresso machine, some Breville thing like that. Really, it was a gift to my wife for Christmas, but it was an excuse for me to get an espresso machine. I need a pair speaker. I can't help you out there. What do I think of open baffle? I don't have the room for it. That's too fancy. That's a level of fancy that I'm not at right now. I just don't have the room for it. And the ones I've heard in real life they're not great for the type of music that I like. I need a box for my music. I like real thumpy, powerful, palpable bass. And like with an open baffle, you need to get like 2 12-inch woofers and everything like that. So it just seems like a pain in the rear. AeroPress. Actually, AeroPress sponsored the channel. I asked my agent, I'm like, reach out to AeroPress again. I want to do another one of those. Yeah. Do I play an instrument? Not really. I used to play the drums growing up. So from like the time I was 5th grade all the way throughout high school, I played the drums. Yeah. You have a Fender t-shirt. Yeah. I don't play the guitar though. I do have a guitar though, and I was trying to teach myself to play, but then I ran out of time. Something I'd like to pick up again, the guitar, and learn how to play. That's on the list for this year of things to do. It's like I want to go take some lessons and like not make videos all the time. Speaking of videos, actually, I need to put this in here. So I did a new copy. I did a video on like my other, like an old Gmail account that I had posted some videos up there about just other stuff, like family stuff. But I'm like, I'm gonna make a video about Gen X stuff. Gen X as in like growing up in the 80s and 90s. So I'm gonna put this in here. Boom. All right. So I'm gonna star this and then I'm gonna put this here. But I just put into the comments, and I'll put this in the description too. Go watch that video if you can, and then subscribe to my other channel if you're so inclined, and like the video if you're so inclined. But it talks about the craziness of like growing up on a farm in the 80s and 90s, and a few things that we did that were just bananas. So please go watch that video and subscribe. I'd like to talk. I'm gonna have a new channel that talks about just fun stuff from the 80s and 90s and how crazy it was back then. 1976 boys had it best. 76, baby. Milko Cortez, not even going to attempt your last name. BOB40. Greetings from Bolivia. Your opinion on the Emotiva XPA HC-1. I'm a big fan of Emotiva. Big fan of the XPA series too. I've had a couple of XPA amplifiers. I actually have one upstairs right now. It's a 13 channel. And I've had the differential amplifiers before, which are amazing. But yeah, I haven't heard the HC-1, but I'm sure it's awesome. So that's my opinion. Dynamic, spicy on top, not necessarily spicy like in a bad way, but like revealing on top, but yet very dynamic. So yeah. What do I think about an external clock? Ooh, great question. This question will make some people's heads spin off. Now, anecdotally, I got a $60 SMSL PO100 or something like that. And I used that as a reclocker of sorts for the WiiM Ultra, because the WiiM Ultra has a USB output. So you can go USB output from the WiiM Ultra into that SMSL thing for $60. And then out of that, you can do optical or I think optical. And there's an XMOS chip inside. And just kind of by default, the device really is not meant to be a reclocker, but as it's designed, it does reclock the signal. And I'll be darned if I didn't hear quite a bit of difference from running the WiiM Ultra directly into my DAC using optical via going USB out of the WiiM Ultra into there. So with all that said, I've also talked to some of my subscribers, and anecdotally, they like the ones that have external DACs, of course, like them because, well, they spent money on them. But I wanted to see, what $60 will get you. So in that sense, I think $60, and if you have a USB output, I think $60 for an external clock is absolutely worth it. Is $600 worth it? I don't know. $6,000? Probably not. But there is something to be said if you have a system that is revealing enough. There's something to be said about an external clock, because clocking issues are a thing, and you can hear them. Born in 66, so full on Gen X. Love it. Hold on. So Tony watched the video, Sonic quality of dirt clouds hitting flesh. Yes, back in the day, that's what we would do for fun sometimes. Like the parents got together, had their little dinner parties, and they would drink and talk and stuff, and the kids would go outside, and we'd just start throwing dirt clouds at each other. That was the thing that we did. My Polk R700s came in today. They're sitting at home in the garage on a pallet. Have to leave work early. Do it. I've never had the floor standers in. I've had the R100s, the R200s, but never, ever have I had the floor standers in. Have I listened to Andrew Jones' Design Pioneer speakers, a bargain 5.1 system that was praised in the press a few years ago? I have, actually. You couldn't get those new anymore, but I found them on like a computer website, like some weird computer place, and I bought them. I think they're $70 a pair. Little bookshelves. They were inefficient as heck, but yeah, they had that warm-ish, full on the bottom Andrew Jones sound, very similar to, ironically, the debut 3.0, which is out now, which ironically was not designed by Andrew Jones, but it sounds more like an Andrew Jones speaker than the debut 2.0. So yes, I have heard them. Absolutely awesome. I don't know why Pioneer doesn't sell them again. Well, probably because Pioneer is part of what was part of Vox, which is now part of somebody else because Vox sold to another company. Yeah. All right. Did I miss any super chats? No, I did not. Just discovered you recently, Cam. What? Phil, thank you. Welcome. I've now just bought my second amp, a Fozzy, after watching and listening to your thoughts. Thanks. Thank you, Phil. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching all the craziness. Quick question. Gonna buy an advanced pair. Ooh, A12. Mama. And an Eversolo. Would I hear a big difference between the B&W SO5s or 805s? My room is only 300 square feet. I don't know. I've never heard the 705s nor the 805s. However, if you're going to buy the Advanced Paris and you're going to buy an Eversolo, consider looking at the Advanced Paris Evo 160, I believe it is, which is a straight up power amp. Because with the Eversolo, you basically have a preamp. Now, if you want like phono stage and all that stuff, then obviously the A12 is the way to go. A12 is something I really want to hear, but it's almost one of those things I don't want to hear because I know I'm going to love it. because it got 2 power supplies, one for each side, fully balanced and everything. And it looks like the A10 Classic, but beefier. It's like the A10 Classic's bigger brother. But I don't know. I've never heard the 705s or the 805s. The B&W is not like my cup of tea. No pun intended, considering they're a British brand. Not my cup of tea when it comes to Sonics, but people love them. So, yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I just haven't heard either of those. I think the only B&W I've had in is like the 600 something. So, yeah, I can't help you. I'm sorry, though. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, though, your system's going to look pretty as heck, because it's going to be one good looking system. I want an AXA 35 amp. What's the best streamer to match? Ooh, AXA 35. Warm, lush, full Cambridge sound. Best streamer, pretty much anything. The cool thing about the AXA 35 is you can get away with a streamer that's got a thin DAC on it and maybe is even over analytical, because it's such a warm, lush, full amplifier. So the thing about it is, though, like the WiiMs are pretty good as far as like having an analog sound. I don't know. I think the Ever Solos are a little bit analytical, but they're expensive, right? You're going to spend $600-700 on the streamer. I don't love the Android interface either. You can look at the Cambridge MXN10. That I think that comes in around $500. A lot of times you can find like a refurb for less. So that might be one to consider. And then you got the WiiM Pro. Trying to remember what the WiiM Pro Plus. So that you have the WiiM. Yeah. I think that the first gen WiiM Pro might be good. Ideally, you probably want to get an external DAC in there. And if you get the WiiM Pro, I mean, that's like 120 or 150. Then you can get even the SMSL what is it? I can't remember all these model numbers now. I think it's the SU1. It's like $80, and it's fairly analytical. It sounds good though. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you can have an analytical DAC or streamer and put it into the AXA 35 and actually balance it out a little bit. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I love you. Although I don't know you. Hey, look at that. Where's that? There you go. Milko. Oh, we already did that one. Hey, wait a minute. Where's Wirehead? Where's that? Where you at, Wirehead? There you go. Boom. Wirehead. My Canadian friend. $5 Canadian. Found a silver pair of Minimus 7s for $40 online last night, and they're perfect. Giving them a break-in as backups to 1982 Bose 201s. Sublime. Oof, yummy. I have, I don't know if you can see it right here. It's my realistic receiver. Look at it in all its 1986, 87 glory. Very nice. I did a video on that. Realistic is like the stepchild, the vintage receiver stepchild that's been forgotten. That shouldn't be, because they're nice. Brock Gerling, what's up, Brock? Happy Tuesday to you. Yep, just got an SU1 to pair with the WiiM Ultra, and it's been great. And you can't here's the cool thing about the SU1 too, is it's 5-volt powered. So you can get like a 5-volt linear power supply and make the thing really, really, really good. Not only that, you can get a 5-volt battery bank, run it off of battery power if you want, which depending upon the battery bank could be really, really good. There's so many things that you can do with like a 5-volt powered product. And the WiiM Pros are also 5-volt. So you can put linear power supplies on those too. Very cool. Very cool. Favorite tube manufacturer? I don't like tubes. I know it's crazy, right? I don't like them. I think they're dumb. I think they're so dumb. I hate tubes. They're just stupid. It's all mid-range. It's all kind of there's no yumminess. It's just mid-range shoved in your face. No dynamics. With all that said, I do have tubes on my A10 Classic. I have no idea. I think they're like something Vane, PS Vane, something like that. I've put some like GEs in some little like headphone amps, but I'm not the guy to ask about tubes. I think they're silly, but I know a lot of people like them, and I totally respect anybody that likes them. Whatever sounds good to you is awesome, but I don't have a favorite tube manufacturer. I mean, even if I did, I mean, like the variability within tubes, like people like measure tubes and like match them and stuff like that, which tells me that there's a lot of variability. So even if you're getting tubes from the same company, chances are they might not all sound the same because there's going to be so much variability. So yeah. Yeah. There you go. Brock answered you. Telefunken. There you go. Realistic and Optimus were high-end hi-fi from where I grew up. John, you might like that. Gen X video I did. How does the ELAC debut compare to the Dentons? Interestingly enough, they kind of the debut threes kind of sounded a little bit like the Dentons, not the Super Dentons. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm walking all this back. I'm thinking of the Lintons. The Dentons, the only Dentons I've heard are the Denton 85th. Which is one, if not two generations older. So the Denton that I had was more, there's more going on top than the ELAC debut 3.0s. So debut threes, thicker, bassier, more dynamic. Dentons, more mid-range focused, and definitely a lot more going on the top end, at least the 85th. But I've never heard the super Dentons. Never heard it. John's already a subscriber. Yay. Thank you, John. Yo, you're the best. No, Chris, you're the best. Chris Ochoki. I like that. Buying the Q Acoustics 3030 because of you. I have the new Q Acoustics here. I haven't done the video though because I don't think they're in stock anywhere. I don't want to like do a video and then like they're not available to buy. They've also gotten pretty expensive. The new 3030s, I think, are like $700, which is expensive. Hey, Simon Hackshaw, good to see you online. Take care and all the best, sir. All the best to you. Ooh, favorite video games. It's going to be pretty boring. So, from like the 80s and 90s, Contra was like all my all-time favorite. I would watch people play Contra. We had this, it was kind of like a ice cream shop, but you get cheeseburgers there too. And they had Contra in the back. And I used to just watch that. I wasn't very good at it, but I'd give people quarters just to watch because like we wanted to watch what happened. I liked Double Dragon. I liked Ninja Gaiden. I liked and then I played a lot of like NCAA football on the Dreamcast, and then also what came out after that? After the Dreamcast, what did I have? I had an Xbox, OG Xbox, and then PlayStation 2 and stuff like that. But that's about it. I'm not really like I aspire to be a video game guy. The problem is I just don't have the patience. And I even got my dog. So we have a PS5, whatever the latest PlayStation is. And she plays it, right? She plays like Fortnite and stuff like that. I don't mind Fortnite. I think Fortnite's kind of fun. But like I had aspirations to play some video games because I got her the what do you call it? The membership. And so there's a bunch of games you can play on there. And so the other night I was like going to play a game, and it just took so long to even like get going on the game. I'm like, nope. I just put it away. I watched some YouTube. It just took forever to load. All right. Ken Ramage, 1999. Thank you so much. Love the channel. Did I waste my money? I have a Marantz Cinema 40 feeding a Marantz Model 30 amp powering SVS Evolution towers. Got the Marantz equipment at employee pricing through Maximo or Massimo. No, obviously you didn't waste your money, especially if you got it at employee pricing. Although I don't know the Cinema 40. Let me look that up. Marantz Cinema 40. 4-channel AV 8K receiver. No, I don't think you did. I like the Marantz receivers as far as like how good home theater receivers sound for music. Marantz is my favorite. What is the Model 30 amp? Marantz Model 30. I don't think you can really waste your money with Marantz, especially if you got it at a discount. $3,000. Whew. Mama. You probably could have gotten away without getting the Model 30. And just because I know I had a Marantz NR1711 and it had preamp outputs, and then it also sounded pretty darn good. And then it also had pure direct mode, which sounded really good too. So you probably didn't need the Model 30, but I mean, those are great, really good products. So for sure. Thanks for the live chat. Dropping out for a meeting. Audiophile Stooge, have a good one. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. I'm sorry I didn't give you all more notice. Who won the giveaway? That's a good question. So I had to switch out the entry thing. So I got to send Cambridge all the entrants. And I think they're going to probably draw. I don't know. I'll ask him. I'll ask Cambridge when they're going to draw. So yeah. Yeah. Got the Marantz M1 for a good price and love it. Haven't done the firmware update, so it still works probably. LOL. Yeah, isn't that funny? Don't do the firmware update. Yeah, brick it. So what happened? What happened with the new firmware? Did it screw things up? Hey Randy, can I count on you to be my? I don't know what that is. John Adams. I'm so happy that you're still doing you. You're an awesome person. Loose Dose 2. Thank you. Who else am I going to be? Yeah. Listen, here's the deal. I'm not very good at being a YouTuber. I'm not very good at doing like product reviews. So I have to be me. Otherwise people will see like how bad I actually am at my job. So it's a lot easier being like the goofball, and then people like don't take you as serious. And then so when you do a bad video, people are like, "Meh, he's such a goofball. It's okay." It's also because I'm lazy. What are your thoughts on optical versus coax connections? People swear by coax, but I've always been optical. I just like optical. I think it's easy. Yeah, so I like optical. I don't know. Maybe there's a difference. Who knows? Does it matter? Maybe. Best possible amp for the Q Acoustics 3030. What's your budget? But I mean, I like the Advanced Parasite 10 Classic. I like the Unico Primo, the Unison Research Unico Primo. I like the Cambridge Evo 150. I like the Cambridge EXN 81. I like the Cambridge CXN 81 Mark II. I like the Emotiva. What is it? TA2. Like that one. And then if you're on like a super budget, I don't love the sound, but there's a lot to like about the amplifier. I like the AS301 from Yamaha. I think it's a little bit harsh though. But for $350, you can't really go wrong. And then there's a bunch of stuff like the ZA3 from Fuzzy Audio. You're going to need a streamer or some type of preamp, though. Now, I mean, you can control volume. You're still going to need a source, though. Yeah. Mike Layton. I love you, Mike. Actually, I don't know you very well, but thank you so much for the compliment. Oof, here we go. Do you plan on reviewing the Emotiva monoblocks? Did they come out with new ones, or are these the older ones? I've reviewed the A1s before. The A1 monoblocks. I thought they're really good. I haven't reviewed the XPAs, but I mean, Emotiva is like awesome. All right. I have a Q350 as fronts. Do you think Q150 would be overkill as surrounds? Yes, absolutely. 100%. I think like matching up your surrounds with your fronts and your center is a complete waste of money. Now, if you got the money and you want them, that's cool. But like you have to think about how much information is actually going to the surrounds. And is that information vital to whatever you're listening to? If you're listening to music a lot, maybe, and there's a lot of stuff going through those rear speakers. But if you're watching movies or television, chances are, like, what are you getting out of the back speakers? Some, I don't know, street noise, sirens, helicopters, a bullet, so you have to ask yourself, do I want to spend that much money on my rear speakers, my surround speakers? It's up to you, though. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. I mean, my surrounds upstairs, and I do this for a living, are just literally whatever I have laying around, because I just don't think they really make a huge difference. If you're listening to a lot of music, though, you may want to consider matching up your speakers. Marco Lopez, $10. Thank you so much. Any suggestion of bookshelf speakers for the Cambridge or CXA81 on the warmer side and no more than $800? Yeah, the ELAC debut 3.0s. Easy recommendation. Very much on the warmer side. I don't even know what they cost. I don't even think are they $400? No, they're $450, and that's retail. They're probably going to go on sale sometime. Yeah, easy recommendation. Other than that, on the warm side, the 5020s from Q Acoustics right here. I don't want to move the camera because I'll probably screw something up. I wouldn't call them warm, but they would be a good match for the CXA81 too. But if you want a warm, more laid back speaker, Emotivas, not the Emotivas, the ELACs all day long. ELAC debut 3.0 for sure. Emotiva TA1. Yes. I think I have one of those somewhere. Let's see. 3.0 towers are less warm and more clear. Huh. Have you listened to both of them, the towers and the bookshelves? Because I haven't listened to the towers. For the CXA81, I like the Polk R200s. They sound great. Whew. I think that would be a little bit spicy for me, but hey, Scott Baylor's been in here for a long time. I trust what he has to say. I was going to say the same speaker. Very cool. I like those ELACs a lot. I don't know what it is about them, because generally speaking, I like a lot going on the top end, but there's something just so, I don't know, endearing to the ELACs. I don't know what it is. Really like the Emotiva T0s, but they seem really bright. Thinking about upgrading. Scott, try not if you can, like what I do with my Emotivas generally is I just face them straight out, so I don't tow them in at me. And then you can mess with, I think they're fairly short, so you can mess with like where your ear is at. But yeah, try beaming them straight out into the room. What are your are there things you would like added to the WiiM app? Man, they're doing such a good job. They add stuff that I wouldn't even begin to ask. I think there was like if you're using USB out, I think like the bass management didn't work, but I heard that they were upgrading that and taking care of it. Like I can't imagine, like there's nothing really that I think of at the top of my head. I mean, they already have more functionality than almost anybody. So yeah, and I don't really like. I use Tidal, I use Amazon Music, I use Rune occasionally, and it does all that stuff. Do you have a preference with porting of bookshelf speakers, front or rear? All the I can say this emphatically. All of the speakers that I've liked personally that I really love are all rear ported. All of them. The speakers that have been front ported that I've had in, some of them are okay, but most of them are kind of like meh. So all the ones I liked are rear ported. But I'm not saying that front ported speakers are bad. I'm just saying all the speakers I like have been front ported. Oh, there you go. WiiM needs a dual subs, not just a mono out. You could split it. Like you could take that subwoofer out and split it into two. Now, granted, you'll be crossing it over at the same frequencies and everything, unless you send a full signal and then cross over your actual subs. And then like you could mess with it. I mean, you could do that. Like, right. Get a single RCA to, a Y cable to two RCAs, and then plug that into two subwoofers, or and then get SVS subwoofers, and then you'll have the app on your subwoofer on your phone, and then you can dial in crossovers and levels and things like that. There you go. Do that. You can do that. I don't know how to say that. ZK. Love your channel. Thank you. Need your advice. I'm here for you. I'm wondering if having two Fozzy monoblocks will be better than a WiiM amp sound quality wise. Probably. It depends on which ones. The V3 monos, it's going to be cleaner and more powerful. Because the WiiM amp is limited by its internal power supply, and I think it's rated at 60 into 8 and maybe 120 into 4. If you have like V3 monoblocks or ZA3s, if you put a 48 volt power supply, you can get more power out of them. Now, I think the V3s monos are really clean. I think the ZA3s are a little bit more dynamic, but it depends on what speakers you have, how loudly you play them. But yeah. Also consider though that, like, I don't know, they're cool. Fozzies are good. I like Fozzy. John Shepler. Do you find a lot of difference between balanced and unbalanced connections? No, I do not. And not all XLRs are truly balanced. So some are, some aren't. Like the A10 Classic from Advanced Paris, it has XLR inputs, but I don't think it's truly balanced. Where the A12 Classic is truly balanced, which means both sides have its own power supply. I've listened to balanced headphones versus unbalanced, and that was where I could potentially heard the biggest difference. But also when it comes to balanced versus unbalanced, if it's truly balanced, the voltage is generally 4 volts versus 2 volts. So when you have a level disparity, it's very difficult to be able to really say, oh, yeah, I heard this difference here, because every time you switch them back and forth, you have to adjust for level. So level matching makes it difficult. I like XLR stuff because it's easier to connect. So, and the cables just seem to lay better. Like when I'm using XLRs, I don't have as much of a rat's nest. But like, I just like the cables. I like the click on the back, and I think they're easy to use. So I use XLR a lot. So yes, there are a lot of differences between unbalanced and balanced connections. They're easier to connect. It's a big difference. I think the cables are easier to navigate. Another big difference. Sonically, I don't know. Depends. I've heard slight variances, but I wouldn't like go into something and say, "Oof, I need to have balanced." Just balance is going to be the way to go. Doesn't really matter to me. Think about it this way: all of the super expensive stuff, even 20 years ago. 20 years ago was 2005. Yeah, most of that was all single-ended. All the wonderful stuff from the 70s and early 80s, all single-ended. Wasn't until recently that like balance started becoming a thing. And I don't even know if it's like if it deserves to be a thing. But yeah, I like XLR because it's easier to connect. Game Lovers 11223, $5. Thank you so much. Recommend a streamer only with a screen. My system is a Macintosh MC352 amp, Macintosh C49 preamp, audio, Holo Audio May, KTE DAC, Legacy Audio Focus. Oh, man, I'm not the guy to be asking about a streamer. Like, you're in the wrong place, man. I appreciate the super chat. For a streamer of this price point, to match with those, all that yummy stuff. The good news is you got a crazy awesome DAC, so you don't necessarily need a crazy awesome streamer. I mean, with something like that, you maybe look at what's that outfit that has like gears on the front of their amps and stuff. I think Andrew Robinson did something. I think it's distributed by the same people that distribute. I think it's distributed by MoFi. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's got really cool design. Somebody put it in the comments. So yeah, here we go. XLR is better for noise. Yeah, for like long runs of cable, right? That's why they use. There we go. Hi-Fi Rose. So for your budget, I mean, look at a Hi-Fi Rose. Because like I'm not going to say get a WiiM Ultra when you have Mac system with a Holo audio DAC and all that stuff, legacy speakers. Look at a Hi-Fi Rose. Like this is above my pay grade though. But yeah, that's the only brand that I can recommend, or off the top of my head. So something about XLRs. Anyway, like that's for like 100-foot run. Like if you're talking about a foot, I mean, the whole thing is if you have truly balanced, what you do is you have two signals and one ground, right? So you have two signals and they're 180 degrees out of phase. And then what you're hearing is the difference between the signals, right? So the positive and the negative signal or whatever it is. So in theory, any distortion, any noise is basically going to be canceled out because you're listening to the delta between those signals. Now that plays a big role in pro audio because you're running hundreds of feet and stuff like that. How much of a role does it play in 2-foot? Probably not as much, right? It could though. If you like XLR, you like XLR. I like XLR, but I'm not making like sonic choices based on XLR. I'm making it based on I like the cables. They're easier to connect, and I hear a click, and I know it's in there, and they lay better. I think they like it. Yeah. There you go. Hi-Fi Rose RS130. There you go. Putting an Audio-Technica cartridge on a Lin. Very nice. I think I got a cartridge sent in to me today. I got a turntable and I opened it up and I put the cartridge in, and the cartridge, like the wires, the leads, one was broken and there's one screw in the head shell. I'm like, yeah. Philip D, $5. You should get the topping B100 monoblocks in Class B design. Quite interesting. I'll have to try to find those. That would be cool. Topping doesn't talk to me very much. I always have to get topping stuff through retailers. John Shepler. I know it was concert venues that used XLR mostly. Quarter, I think, It's for longer runs and easy connections. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. There's a moving target, of course, too, right? Like, I'm sure there's some balance that sounds awesome, some balance that doesn't sound awesome, but as a rule, like, I don't go all in on balanced. Yeah. Yeah. How do upgraded power supplies improve the sound quality? Well, you have noise. If you have a power supply with lower noise, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about here. It's all just magic stuff. I will say this though, with a linear, and if you can have more headroom too, right? So, and I asked the Cambridge Audio people this because I was asking it not in regards to an amplifier, but in regards to like a streamer. And I'm like, hey, if you have a beefier, better power supply, does it really make that big of a difference on a streamer? And like the engineers like nodded their head in unison. So yeah, if they think it makes a difference, then yeah, I don't know. Improves headroom, I guess. Lower noise. I like linear power supplies. I run those on my DACs and streamers and stuff. How does it improve the sound quality? I always feel like it's a larger presentation. And then less noise on a good one. So yeah. I could be full of crap though too. Can you use one WiiM Mini for come on, Randy. Mono Fozzy ZA3 setup. Can you use one WiiM Mini? Yes. What you do though is, so on the WiiM Mini, you have a 3.5 millimeter analog output. So you'll need a 3.5 millimeter to RCA output. And then you'll plug one end of that plug the red one into your right amp, and you plug the left one into your left amp. And there you go. If you can though, I would get an external DAC, and then you do it the same way. But with the ZA3s, you actually have balance. So if you want to use balanced, you can. So I would run that into something like a Jashelli Labs J2 or a J3, and then I'd run XLR out of the J2 or J3 into the ZA3s. That's what I would do. Just me though. All right, we're going to call it good. It's been an hour and 2 minutes. Thank you for joining me on a Tuesday. Thank you so much. If you can, watch that video I did on the new channel. I think you'll get a kick out of it. I'll put it in the description. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for all of your super chats, all of your questions. I hope you have a great week. Be safe out there, love each other, and listen to some music. Binge listen. Fill your soul with happiness. Bye.